Good evening, hello and welcome. You're with the news today. This is your primetime destination. News, newsmakers, talking points, and Monday night we'll get all the news for you at the start of the week. First, let me tell you what's our big talking point tonight. The Election Commission has now announced a nationwide election revision exercise of the rolls. The special intensive revision that was so contentious in Bihar will now extend across the country. And we'll raise the big question, will this end up excluding genuine citizens, or is it a purification of the rolls? We have a special panel on that. Also, among our guests today will be two former chief election commissioners, and Yogendra Yadav will also join us. And we'll have plenty else on the show today. Lots of big stories coming up. But first, as always, it's time for the 9 headlines at 9. Election Commission goes ahead and announces a pan-India special intensive revision exercise for electoral rolls. 12 states to go, including poll-bound Tamil Nadu, Bengal and Kerala. Opposition calls it a game of vote chori across 12 states. Farmer dies after a BJP leader in Madhya Pradesh and his aides run a Thar over him, assault his daughters. Police say injured farmer was not allowed to be taken to the hospital for about an hour by the accused, who allegedly were in a land dispute. Outrage in Madhya Pradesh and beyond. A UPSC aspirant is murdered in Delhi by his live-in partner. Girlfriend kills him with ex-boyfriend's help. Accused is a forensic student. She staged a cylinder blast to camouflage the murder. 1 month after the Karur stampede in which several people died, TVK chief Vijay meets the kin of victims, breaks down while meeting them in Mahabalipuram, urges family to consider him as one of their own. External Affairs Minister Jai Shankar meets US Secretary of State Marco Rubio on the sidelines of the ASEAN summit in Malaysia. Both leaders discuss bilateral ties in the backdrop of ongoing trade talk issues. Chief Justice of India recommends Justice Surya Kant as his successor. He will become the 53rd Chief Justice of India, set to assume office on 23rd November. India's southeast coast braces for Cyclone Monta, which is likely to make a landfall tomorrow. IMD issues red alert in Odisha, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu. Fishermen urged to avoid the seas. A 20-year-old Indian origin woman raped in Birmingham. Police say she was attacked because of her racial identity. Suspect arrested after a manhunt. And cricketer Shreyas Iyer is finally out of ICU in Sydney after suffering internal bleeding from a rib injury during an ODI in Sydney on Saturday. He's now expected to remain in the Sydney hospital for at least a week. Is an absolute shocker that's coming from Madhya Pradesh, where there is an uncanny resemblance to the horrific Lakhimpur Kheri killings a few years ago, where farmers were mowed down by a politician's son, in fact a former union minister's son, now a local BJP leader, and his associates in a district in Madhya Pradesh are accused of killing a farmer by mowing him down in their Thar car. And not just that, the BJP leader is accused of even being involved in the assault of his minor daughters of the farmer when they tried to protect him. The case has led to plenty of outrage because the main suspect, Mahendra Nagar, who is a Kisan Morcha leader of the local BJP, is absconding. Search is on for 14 accused in the case, all of whom have been named in an S.I.R. Police have arrested one person so far. It is an absolute shocker that has come in today from Madhya Pradesh, where a farmer has been mowed down by the associates of a local BJP leader who then himself was reportedly involved in an assault on the minor daughters of that farmer. Can it get more shocking than that? Ravishpal Singh has tonight's top story.
Farmer is brutally assaulted. The injured man is run over by an SUV. His daughter's clothes are ripped apart. The attack on the farmer, which took place on Sunday, was led by Madhya Pradesh district-level BJP Kisan Morcha leader Mahendra Nagar and his associates. 40-year-old Ram Swaroop, the victim, later succumbed to injuries at the hospital.
देवेंद्र ये सब ना उनके घर से बाहर निकले और पापा के ऊपर हमला करने लग गए। तो पहले तो ना हमने आवाज सुनी तो हम भी गए उनको बचाने और मम्मी ना पापा को बचाने के लिए गई तो उन्होंने पापा के ऊपर वो उनकी गाड़ी चढ़ा दी। मैं उनके पास गई तो उन्होंने गोली चलाई और फिर मुझे फेंक दिया। मेरे बालों को इतना ईचा, ये कपड़े भी फेंक।
गोली किसने चलाई?
महेंद्र नागर ने।
महेंद्र के मकान के सामने 15 से 20 व्यक्तियों ने बाहर निकलकर इनके ऊपर हमला किया। रामस्वरूप की गंडासी, फरसा, लट्टों से मारपीट की। उसके बाद में उसकी मिसेज उसको बचाने लगी तो उसके साथ भी हाथापाई की। ये हवाई फायरिंग कर रहे थे। 15 से 20 व्यक्ति थे।
A case has been filed at the Fatehgarh police station in Guna district. According to the S.I.R, at approximately 2 p.m. on Sunday, Ram Swaroop Nagar of Ganeshpura village was assaulted with lathis by accused Mahendra Nagar and 14 others. Accused Mahendra Nagar and Lokesh Nagar assaulted Ram Swaroop's daughters, who intervened and tore their clothes. Another accused, Jitendra Nagar, ran over Ram Swaroop with a Thar SUV, breaking both his arms and legs. The victim and the accused are neighbors. Ram Swaroop had allegedly taken money from the accused to sell 7 bighas of land in Nahargarh in Rajasthan, but the land was yet to be transferred.
तो इसमें पुलिस ने तत्काल संज्ञान लेते हुए मामला पंजीबद्ध किया है। इसमें एक फरियादी की मृत्यु भी हो गई है और जो एक मुख्य आरोपी है इसमें महेंद्र नागर, इसका आपराधिक रिकॉर्ड का अवलोकन किया गया तो इसमें लगभग गुना में 4 अपराध इसके पाए गए हैं जो कि 376 के हैं। पहले 353 डिटरिंग अ पब्लिक सर्वेंट और मारापीटी के हैं। इसके अलावा राजस्थान के नाहरगढ़ थाना क्षेत्र में भी एक मारापीटी का अपराध पहले से पंजीबद्ध है।
The murder has sparked a political showdown.
भारतीय जनता पार्टी किसानों की दुश्मन बन गई, उनसे नफरत करती। आज जब हम एक बीजेपी के नेता ने किसान को थार गाड़ी से रौंद दिया, ये मैसेज क्या है? ये मैसेज है कि किसानों से नफरत करती है भारतीय जनता पार्टी की विचारधारा।
मेरे संज्ञान में मामला आया है, मुख्यमंत्री जी के भी संज्ञान में है। हम इस घटना की जांच भी कराएंगे और अगर कोई दोषी होगा तो उस पे न सिर्फ पार्टी बल्कि प्रशासन भी जो उचित कार्रवाई होगी वो करेगा।
The police have launched a hunt for the accused, but the failure to arrest the main suspect, even after 24 hours, raises questions about the investigation. With Ravishpal Singh, Bureau Report, India Today.
And I want to go straight across to our reporter Ravishpal Singh, who has been tracking that story. Ravish, ये बताइए कि ये महेंद्र नागर कौन है? इसका बीजेपी से क्या ताल्लुक है? क्या वो किसान नेता है? हमने उनके फोटोग्राफ्स बीजेपी के नेताओं के साथ देखे। क्या वो लोकल लेवल बीजेपी लीडर है? और कहां है महेंद्र नागर, जिसके पीछे जो इस पूरे दर्दनाक, शर्मनाक, दर्दनाक घटना के पीछे है?
राजीव जी, जो पहली बात है वो ये कि इसका जो संबंध है भाजपा से, वो स्थानीय जो गुना जिला है उसकी एक विधानसभा है बमोरी। उस बमोरी विधानसभा का रहने वाला है और गुना जिले का जो किसान मोर्चा प्रकोष्ठ है भारतीय जनता पार्टी का, ये उसका प्रभारी है। ये इंचार्ज है किसान मोर्चा का लोकल लेवल पे गुना जिले में, भारतीय जनता पार्टी के किसान मोर्चा का। और साल 2023 में, यानी जब मध्य प्रदेश में विधानसभा चुनाव हुए थे, उसी साल इसकी पदस्थापना की गई थी और बाकायदा वो जो नोट जारी हुआ था भारतीय जनता पार्टी की तरफ से, वो भी इंडिया टुडे के पास है, हमने उसे एक्सेस किया है। और जहां तक बात है, हमने फोटोज देखे हैं इसके सोशल मीडिया प्लेटफॉर्म पे, तमाम भारतीय जनता पार्टी के जो स्टेट मिनिस्टर्स हैं या फिर जो यूनियन कैबिनेट मिनिस्टर्स हैं, उनके साथ इनकी तस्वीरें हैं। और सबसे बड़ी बात यह है कि आज की तारीख में इस घटना को 24 घंटे से ज़्यादा का समय बीत चुका है और माना जा रहा है कि जो हमारे सोर्सेज बता रहे हैं सर कि ये जो अक्यूज्ड है, ये पास ही में, क्योंकि राजस्थान का बॉर्डर लगता है, और ये अक्यूज्ड अपनी गाड़ी से राजस्थान बॉर्डर जाकर के राजस्थान में कहीं छुपा हुआ है। मध्य प्रदेश पुलिस फिलहाल इस अक्यूज्ड को ढूंढने की कोशिशों में लगी हुई है।
Ravish Pal Singh bringing us those details. Absolute shocker there. A local Kisan Morcha leader of the BJP is involved in one of the most serious crimes, allegedly, and has escaped and gone into Rajasthan. Completely unacceptable. Remember what happened a few years ago with Ajay Mishra Teni. His son also for a while appeared to get away when he too had mowed down protesting farmers. That was in Lakhimpur Kheri. If the police of Madhya Pradesh is watching, they need to ensure that Mahendra Nagar is brought to justice at the earliest. Thank you, Ravish Pal Singh, for joining me. I want to turn from there to our top political focus, because the focus today is once again on the Election Commission. Today, the Election Commission at a press conference announced that they are taking the special intensive revision exercise to revise electoral rolls across the country. What started in Bihar rather controversially before the elections there will now spread in the first phase to 12 more states, including election-bound Kerala, Tamil Nadu and West Bengal. Predictably, the opposition is saying that the Election Commission is enabling the government with vote chori. The Commission makes it clear it's time to purify the rolls. In a moment, we'll have a big debate on that. But first, take a look at our top story.
The Election Commission launches nationwide special intensive revision of electoral rolls.
अब फेज 2 12 राज्यों में या संघ शासित प्रदेशों में आरंभ होने वाला है।
This massive exercise will cover over 51 crore voters across 12 states and union territories in the latest phase.
जिन राज्यों में SIR हो रहा है या अभी होने वाला है, उनकी मतदाता सूची आज रात को 12 बजे फ्रीज कर दी जाएगी।
The special intensive revision will take place in Andaman and Nicobar Islands, Goa, Puducherry, Chhattisgarh, Gujarat, Kerala, Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, West Bengal, Tamil Nadu and Lakshadweep. The Election Commission has clarified that in Assam, due to the ongoing NRC process, no S.I.R will be conducted.
माननीय सुप्रीम कोर्ट की देखरेख में वहां पर नागरिकता की जांच का कार्यक्रम लगभग पूर्ण होने वाला है। ऐसी स्थिति में जो ये 24 जून का SIR का ऑर्डर था, वो पूरे देश के लिए था, वो असम पर लागू नहीं होता।
The house-to-house enumeration will take place from 4th November to 4th December. The draft electoral rolls will be published on 9th December. Claims and objections can be filed from 9th December to 8th January. Notices, hearing and verification will be done from 9th December to 31st January. The final electoral rolls will be published on 7th February. The Election Commission has made it clear that Aadhaar can be used only as a proof of identity, not as a proof of citizenship. Many opposition parties have hit out at the Election Commission, calling S.I.R a political conspiracy and questioning the intent behind the move.
आज ECI ने, चुनाव आयोग ने 12 राज्यों में SIR की घोषणा की है। अभी तक बिहार की SIR के कारण और जो सवाल उसमें हम सब ने खड़े किए, उसका उत्तर नहीं मिला, जवाब नहीं मिला।
First of all, details of the election commission, what they have said, will be analyzed and evaluated by our leadership. But the party stands by this point that no valid voter will be omitted.
The Election Commission, however, maintains that the S.I.R. process is vital for keeping electoral rolls accurate and credible, removing duplicate, migrated or ineligible voters. Bureau Report, India Today.
Okay, time for our big talking point tonight on that S.I.R. exercise. Is a nationwide election special intensive revision exercise timely or not? Will the S.I.R. is electoral rolls purification an urgent need? Or will the S.I.R. once again be seen as an exercise of excluding citizens from electoral rolls? Is the Election Commission's credibility on the line? Let's go to our big debate. And joining me now are special guests on our debate on the special intensive revision exercise of the Election Commission that's gone pan-India. Two former Chief Election Commissioners, N. Gopalswamy and Dr. S.Y. Qureshi, also Yogendra Yadav of the Swaraj Abhiyan, its founder and a critic of the S.I.R. Also with us, Rajat Sethi, who's worked with several BJP governments and is a political analyst. Appreciate all four of you joining us. Let's get first reactions over this exercise from you, Dr. Gopalswamy, and then you, Dr. Qureshi. Do you all support this exercise going pan-India with 12 more states to be covered in the next 3 months? Do you believe that it's a step in the right direction that the Election Commission has taken? Mr. Gopalswamy, you first.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's having done it in Bihar, you can't stop there. I mean, it was intended for the entire country, but Bihar came first. Now it's being extended to other states in phases. The next phase takes about 12 states. The rest of them will follow later on. So it's a correct step.
You're saying it's the correct step. Dr. Qureshi, do you agree it's the correct step? Or should the Election Commission have pressed a pause button, consulted more stakeholders before going ahead with it?
No, I think it is a correct step. And to me, the press conference today was very convincing. And the most clinching argument was that in Bihar, 0 appeals were received. I think, which means it went off well. People accepted. Otherwise, there would have been some appeals. After that, I don't think there is much scope left for any discussion and debate. Our concern was that doing this massive exercise in Bihar in just 3 months would create more problems than it will solve. Election Commission was always confident, and actually they have proved themselves right. They were able to pull it off. Although there may be still some question mark, who are these people and how many used Aadhaar, and if without Aadhaar, what would have been the case? But all these are hypothetical questions now. Once we know that no appeal by any party or anyone was filed, that I think is a clinching proof that it had gone off well, and therefore now to proceed to rest of the country, it was the next logical step, which the Election Commission has been saying from the beginning. And secondly, what will be different in those states from Bihar, that there were much more time available. Bihar, the deadlines were so tight, it was creating almost a panic situation. But here they are going to do the exercise in states where elections are due in many months and 1 year or even 2 years.
Okay, so both the chief election commissioners, former chief election commissioners, are giving their thumbs up to the exercise going pan-India. Yogendra Yadav, as someone who's been a fierce critic of the way the special intensive revision exercise was conducted in Bihar itself, your opening comment.
Rajdeep, I beg to disagree with both the chief election commissioners, with all due respect. My first reaction is that an instrument of mass disenfranchisement has now been refined into targeted exclusion. That is all that has happened. Sadly, the Election Commission has not learned the lessons from Bihar that it should have. I'm surprised that Mr. Qureshi thinks that lack of appeal is a proof of success, which is what the CEC said. It is appeal after the final rolls were released, and appeal requires you to receive an order. And in Bihar, no orders were given to anyone whose name was deleted. So these are no appeal for deletion of names from draft list into final list. I'm very surprised that Mr. Qureshi ignores that basic point. But the basics first. Rajdeep, there cannot be any debate that we need revision of voters list. And who else can be turned to except the Election Commission? The real question is whether S.I.R. is the right instrument for cleanup that is required. And I have maintained that S.I.R. has some attributes which have not been changed. Some of things have been improved today, and I welcome it. The documentary burden has been reduced. Election Commission is doing things not in that haphazard way as they did in Bihar. So Election Commission has made life easy for itself. That's to be welcomed. I actually like it. But the basic exclusionary character has not changed. Number one, the onus of being on the voters list for the last 75 years has been on the Election Commission, not on the voter. That still remains on the voter. That is my biggest problem. And number two, the nature of documents has not changed. Election Commission is most unwilling to accept even Aadhaar. And number three, it continues to be principally an exercise in identification of citizenship, although it has been sufficiently proven that in 2002, 3, 4, no verification of citizenship took place. The documents have been placed in the public domain. Unfortunately, the Election Commission goes on lying in this respect. So it's a very sad situation right now.
Rajat Sethi, 2 points coming from what Yogendra Yadav just said. Importantly, that this remains an exercise of exclusion. The focus is who do we exclude, who do we delete, how many do we delete, and the onus of proof is on the voter, the citizen voter, and not on the Election Commission as was the case in the past.
So this goes against natural justice, wherein you want the government to prove that an X person is a citizen of this country or not. I mean, how on earth is that a logic? The only coherent complaint that was there regarding the Bihar S.I.R. process was it was done too close to the election. Now, I think since they have preemptively started doing it pan-India, I believe that core criticism cannot be again surfaced because that has been addressed. A. B, you want to preempt everything by saying that this is a dooms exercise, is nothing is going to come out of it, or this is something where the burden of proof is shifted to the citizenry. I believe such a cleanup of the electoral rolls hasn't happened at a scale that it was needed. Today, if you print an Aadhaar card, the front page of Aadhaar card itself writes it, that this is only an identity proof. It is neither an address proof nor a nationality proof. How can you conflate Aadhaar with nationality is beyond me. Aadhaar, right from conceptualization itself, even foreigners can apply for Aadhaar. Therefore, Aadhaar as a standalone document cannot be end all and be all of a voting exercise in this country. And I believe Election Commission has to stay true. Otherwise, you are trying to enfranchise people who are not even citizens of this country. I don't understand why this simple fact is not being stated by various analysts on over the past 6-7 months that I'm hearing. You can clearly say that there is a gap that needs to be fulfilled through an alternate national identity, which is a citizen identity card. I'm okay with that, but you cannot conflate Aadhaar being, being that sole source of document which can replace all other aspects of documentation. And I believe Election Commission is clear on its position. It has stabled its position even before the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court has not asked Election Commission to budge on this position. And that is what the state of affairs is. And the biggest hero around S.I.R. challenge was Rahul Gandhi. Since 1st September till today's 27th October, he hasn't raised this issue. He hasn't even visited Bihar to figure out what has actually happened on people who were deleted. Were those bona fide deletions or non-bona fide deletions? This is the degree of carelessness that the principal proponent of an S.I.R. mess, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, cares about this issue.
Yogendra Yadav, you want to quickly respond to that before I widen it to my bigger question on Aadhaar in particular, but What Rajat Sethi is suggesting is, yes, there were concerns expressed, many of them possibly legitimate because of the short time frame in Bihar. But the argument now being made is that since the exercise has been reasonably successful in terms that we haven't seen massive objections from, let's say, booth level agents, you therefore believe that even the 60 lakh odd deletions that originally took place have more or less been accepted as being legitimate, and therefore the Bihar model now is being taken across the country with a longer time frame in mind.
Rajdeep, I think Rajat is seriously missing a congressperson to have a little boxing ring with. I'm unfortunately not that person, so I'll focus on the real arguments. One argument is that Aadhaar is not a proof of citizenship. Of course it is not. Who has said that it is a proof of citizenship? The real question is that there is a list of 11 documents that the Election Commission gives. Of the 11, only 2 can be seen to be proof of citizenship. One is a passport and the other is a birth certificate. The remaining 9 are not proof of citizenship. If those 9 can be accepted as standalone document, then why not Aadhaar? Is a class 10 mark sheet a proof of citizenship? Can a foreigner not get a class 10 mark sheet? Is a patta, land patta, a proof of citizenship? This is a question not raised by me. This is a question raised by Justice Bagchi in the Supreme Court. And the Election Commission has no answer. If you allow, so the question is not whether Aadhaar is a proof of citizenship. The question is whether Aadhaar is at par with 9 other documents that the Election Commission is willing to accept. The only difference is that those 9 documents have very low penetration. Aadhaar is easily available. Is that the problem of the Election Commission? To assume that what happened in Bihar was all right because only 47 lakh people have been deleted, I'm absolutely surprised. Mr. Qureshi and Mr. Gopalswamy can correct me. This is the largest single exclusion ever in the history of Indian elections. Not just that, you may say, itne galat honge, kat gaye to kya hua? The simple fact is Bihar today has 8.22 crore adult people. This is Government of India's data, not my data. And electoral rolls had 7.89 crore people to begin with, and it has come down to 7.42 crore, and we are calling it an achievement. I'm absolutely astonished at this kind of reasoning. Are we not worried? The Election Commission does not spend 1 minute in the press conference or in the entire exercise to worry about disproportionate disenfranchisement of women, of which we have given the data, and the Election Commission has accepted that data. Election Commission has only one answer to the problem of migrants, that is to say they should do online. Every migrant who walks with a laptop should get an online exercise. Election Commission ridiculously says that deduplication is not required because deduplication is illegal. Sir, who is going to catch that illegality? Election Commission is not interested in the junk names and junk information that comes out. And all this is not on my count. The Election Commission of India in 2016 came out with a wonderful document called National Electoral Rolls Purification. Election Commission said why deduplication is important. Election Commission said so many junk names exist, why do we need to exclude them? And today, in a country which gives IT power to the rest of the world, the Election Commission comes in a nationalized televised press conference and says deduplication is not necessary, which clearly shows that the intent is not to clean up electoral rolls. The intent is something else.
The intent you're suggesting is to exclude. Rajat, I'll give you a response in a moment, but just to explain to our viewers before I also go to the former chief election commissioners, why did Bihar S.I.R become contentious? Many believe citizenship test is not the mandate of the Election Commission. Aadhaar, ration card, voter ID card were not accepted. The accepted documents were much tougher to get. There was a very short time frame for enumeration, and it was an exercise in exclusion with no clarity in the end on how many names were being deleted. Initially, it was over 60 lakhs. It ended up with a little over 47. Mr. Gopalswamy, you were raising your finger a moment ago. Are these objections met? You see, these are serious objections. Yogendra Yadav and others went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court did not entirely reject what they were saying. Even Aadhaar was seen by the Supreme Court in some way as a 12th document to be added.
Let me first
Go
say.
ahead.
Let me first say that I must compliment the Election Commission for having made the Supreme Court, which banned the use of Aadhaar in 2015. Wrongly, I'm sorry. It was unfortunate that the Supreme Court banned the use of Aadhaar in 2015 or so. In fact, they issued a contempt of court notice to the Election Commission. I wish they had not done it. If that had not done, if they had understood that this was going to be at the back end only to be used for checking double entries, etc., things would have been much better now. Anyway, I must compliment the Election Commission for having made the same Supreme Court now say use Aadhaar. Okay, so the answer to Mr. Yogendra Yadav is the Election Commission did not use the Aadhaar because the Supreme Court had banned it and issued a contempt of court notice to them. So it was proper that they allowed the Supreme Court itself to say, all right, now use it. Okay, now leave aside that. Now look at the, Mr. Yogendra Yadav mentioned that this is the biggest reduction or deletion of voters. I'm sorry, sir. Deletion of voters in 2007, before the elections in UP, was somewhere around 54 lakhs. In Karnataka, it was around 52 lakhs deletion, and then added. So, such exercise of deletion about 45 lakhs, and out of 65 lakhs, out of which 22 lakhs were dead voters. Okay, so nobody was. You cannot say that their franchise is being taken away. No, obviously, you can't expect a dead man to come and vote. Okay, now the rest of it, 7.5 were duplicates. That leaves only a smaller number, much smaller number, a number which is around 30-35 lakhs, where the claim was that they had shifted. So now when you the methodology adopted this time was totally different. For every person on the list, a written document was given to that person saying that now you can answer. Now where the person was not on the list, obviously the person is not being given the paper. So the point is, supposing you are not on the list and therefore you didn't get a thing, but you are a voter. The BLO and the BLAs are there to help you to apply, saying that look, you have not given me the document, but I am very much a voter. I am very much staying in this place. So here is the application from my side. So what was the problem with that? So not giving the list of deletion, I think it's an excuse which is being propped up just to say that whatever is being done is wrong.
Just a quick one.
Okay,
if I may.
Dr. Qureshi, do you want to add? Yogendra Yadav quickly, and then Dr. Qureshi and Rajat. Yes, Yogendra.
I'm sorry to correct Mr. Gopalswamy, but sir, the Election Commission did not get the Supreme Court to accept Aadhaar. Election Commission protested, kicked, cried, did everything possible to prevent Aadhaar from being ordered by the Supreme Court. You may not have had the time to follow the Supreme Court proceedings. Election Commission filed an affidavit. Election Commission did everything possible in the Supreme Court to prevent Aadhaar from being added as the 12th document. Sir, I was there in the court. I speak with authority, and I'm liable to be punished if I'm misreporting the Supreme Court proceedings. Number two.
May I know which year it was?
Sir, this is right now, 2025. I'm speaking. I'm not speaking of the past, sir.
25, sir.
I'm speaking of the current proceedings in the Supreme Court for which you are complimenting the Election Commission. You were saying you were complimenting the Election Commission for getting the Supreme Court to change its stand. All I'm pointing to you, sir, humbly, is that Election Commission did nothing of that kind. Election Commission tried its utmost to prevent the Supreme Court from ordering this. And they are on record for doing so. Repeatedly they did so. I was in the Supreme Court, sir, in many hearings. That's a small point. And number two, while you could be absolutely correct about UP and Karnataka, sir, but I may just wish to check with you are you speaking of net deletions or gross deletions? Because gross deletions in Bihar are 68 lakhs. So
No.
the two figures that you gave, were they net or gross? I may be incorrect, but I would wish to be guided by.
Please check. The net deletion is not 68. The gross deletion was 68, and there were additions.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I am talking about the Karnataka and the UP. The final net deletions of 52 lakhs and 54 lakhs. UP and Karnataka.
Okay, we've heard. Okay, we'll get that. We'll get that checked again. But Dr. Qureshi, you see what it's coming down to is also a lack of trust, many believe, in the Election Commission. I look at the numbers. A CSDS survey a few years ago had pointed out a very high trust in the Election Commission, 75%, 80%. That's come down substantially. All of this is coming at a time when there is a slight trust deficit. It's not just activists. There are many who believe that the manner in which this exercise was carried out in Bihar, and now if it's replicated nationwide, particularly in border states like West Bengal, there will be again an outcry because there's a fear that this is being designed in a way to create this impression of excluding people, including those who voted consistently for the last 20 years in elections.
Yeah, before I answer the comment about the image of the Election Commission, just a quick response to Mr. Yogendra Yadav when he said that no appeal was filed because the order was not handed over. And I'm surprised to know that because 68 lakhs, at least some orders would have been handed over. At least there should have been 5 appeals and 10 appeals out of 68 lakhs. So 0 appeal to me, because that's why I said it is a clinching argument. And I have been a skeptic. I've written about it. I've appeared on stage with Mr. Yogendra Yadav. But actually, frankly, I'm floored by this. Secondly, the Aadhaar issue. I must recall that Aadhaar was started in my time when Nandan Nilekani was just appointed. He came to meet the Election Commission. We had started collecting biometrics in Goa. Then we said, look, we will combine the two data and we will now stop collecting biometrics because you're going to collect anyway. And at one point, we will link the thing. The Election Commission ordered that should be linked, and Supreme Court then declared it illegal. But to remind Mr. Gopalswamy, later on, the same Supreme Court, a couple of years later, declared it legal. And the Election Commission started linking it once again. So currently, the status is that it is legal. Second point, which I would like to say, that agreeing with Mr. Yogendra Yadav, that Election Commission was opposing both introduction of EPIC and Aadhaar in those 11 documents. And the impression created is that the Supreme Court thrust it on the Election Commission. My interpretation is Supreme Court did a favor to the Election Commission because if Aadhaar was continued to be excluded, half of the applicants would not have been able to file because how many people have a passport in Bihar? So therefore, the fact that the other documents are not easily as widely available as Aadhaar, the inclusion actually was a favor to the Election Commission.
May I make just one correction, Rajdeep?
Rajat, you want to intervene as you're hearing there? Sure. Yes, very quickly again, Yogendra Yadav.
Sorry to have to correct one more Chief Election Commissioner. Sir, you may have been conflating that two different kinds of appeals, two different kinds of process. For the 65 lakh people whose names did not figure on draft electoral rolls because they had not submitted enumeration form, no order was given according to Election Commission. No formal notice was required. There was no order, no notice, no appeal. So that is not appeal at all. What the Election Commission is claiming today in the press conference is a very limited thing. They are saying of the 3.66 lakh names that were deleted after the draft electoral rolls, they have not received any formal appeal. And our plea in the Supreme Court was, please show us a single order that has been issued to any one of those persons or their families. I am yet to see any single order. Where there is no order, how can you appeal, sir? Okay.
Rajat Sethi, respond to what you've just heard. it seems at the moment, as I said, the trust deficit factor. A lot of this is about trust. The Election Commission was an extremely trusted body. Now it's caught up in a political tug of war, and its trust, in a sense, is where the question mark lies. You mentioned Rahul Gandhi, how he hasn't gone to Bihar. He hasn't found out how many names are actually deleted subsequently. Do you, though, concede there is a trust deficit or not? Or even is that also being manufactured, you believe?
Of course, if you look at the causal chain between this trust deficit, which has apparently gone down, isn't media and isn't the entire S.I.R. the way it was presented before the public is bound to create such kind of a impact on the voter's mind? Where is it that in isolation that this thing is coming from the public? If there were so many deletions, why were people not on the ground? 60-70 lakh is not a small number that you can ignore as a rounding off error. Why were the so-called quote-unquote disenfranchised people not hitting the streets and Congress or any other opposition party trying to champion their cause? It would have been a perfect sort of an election issue, which they could have gone to the town making this as a central Bihar issue. But where is that issue for the past 15, 20, 50 days, actually? Not a single whisper of this issue on the ground, because this is a non-issue. The problem is that if you want to take an ideological position and then try to look for any kind of a, relevant, irrelevant evidences to conflate that position, that does not lead to a coherent argument. My simple problem is today, India is facing a problem where it desperately needs a register of citizens, which in isolation can become, can extend to voting rights to those citizens. Currently, we don't have. People sitting there on the other side of the aisle typically raise so many objections around this NRC exercise also. Where do you want to stop? You tell me that. You don't want NRC, then you want to suddenly jump and say that the voter ID card should necessarily piggyback on Aadhaar. How is that reasonable? I have served in the border states. I can tell you Aadhaars are distributed as if it's nobody's business. People have like pan gumti shops they've opened up, issuing Aadhaar cards and making people indirectly bona fide citizens of this country. And then taking up the advantages of various government schemes, and taking advantages of reservations and taking away the rightful reservation benefits from people who deserve it.
But Rajat, Bihar also shares a border. Rajat, Bihar also shares a border with countries like Nepal. And if I look at the list, as per the Election Commission, there is still no suggestion that large-scale ghuspetiyas or infiltrators from other states have come in and got illegal citizenship. I'm just referring to Bihar at the moment. The truth of the matter is, this is also propaganda, that there is large-scale infiltration taking place.
See, Rajdeep, large-scale, small-scale, or even a single person crossing the border and illegally taking Aadhaar and then illegally becoming a voter of this country is problematic to me. And I don't think Election Commission has the responsibility or has come out and said that, oh, mass illegal migration is not happening at scale. Did any government body make that assertion or otherwise? The answer is no. We are as interpreter trying to interpret what all is there. That need not be official position. This is why you require a national register of citizens to establish exactly this, whether this quantum of illegal migrants in this country is very big or very small or negligible. That needs to be established. How else do you do this exercise?
Sure, but the NRC exercise is not the job, presumably, of the Election Commission, certainly. But
that's what I exactly said. So you cannot expect
an ideological position.
No. My point is you cannot expect Election Commission to come out and say that, okay, illegal migrants weren't there in the list, we couldn't identify. You're answering the wrong, you're asking the wrong question from the Election Commission and reaching to a conclusion nevertheless.
Okay.
Rajdeep, this one thing must be put on record.
Yogendra Yadav, the charge is that you're taking... No, Yogendra Yadav, the charge is that you're taking an ideological position and then trying to get the facts to fit in that ideological position. According to Rajat Sethi, there is a genuine problem in the border areas of people who may have got Aadhaar and may not necessarily be citizens of the country and therefore cannot get voting rights. Your quick final response to that.
Rajdeep, of course, there is a genuine problem. And last I heard, the Aadhaar authority was not working under the government of Pakistan or Bangladesh. I thought the Home Ministry of the country had something to do with it. And if for the last 11 years you are ruling this country and you cannot get your core card correct, and you complain that, oh my God, this is, this is weird.
But foreigners also. Aadhaar can be given to foreigners also.
Rajat, please stop spreading misleading information. There are two different kinds of Aadhaar cards. An Aadhaar card, which is given to foreigner, has an expiry date written into it. So please don't spread misinformation. These are two very different things. But allow me to say just one thing. Election Commission. He says, why are we asking Election Commission? Sir, I'm asking Election Commission because at the beginning of S.I.R, Election Commission tells me there are 4 major objectives, one of which is detection and deletion of illegal foreigners. So at the end of that exercise, am I not entitled to asking them, sir, how many foreigners have you detected and deleted? In the S.I.R orders, point 5b, para 5b, there is a requirement that any foreigner who is deleted has to be reported to the foreigner's authority. So am I not entitled to asking the Bihar government and India government, how many such reports have they received? And why is it that Chief Election Commission in the nationally televised debate today pointedly refused to answer this question when it was asked to him twice? Sir, how many foreigners have you deleted? And this is not a vague category. Not an Indian citizen is an official category for objection, an official category for deletion. So Election Commission has the data. Why is it that you don't share it with the country? What is it that you want to hide? Is it that you didn't find any and you're too embarrassed to report it?
You know, that's an interesting... Yes, Mr. Gopalswamy, you've raised your finger. Go ahead and conclude the debate.
Yeah, quickly 2 points. One, I agree that if you keep on repeating a lie, it becomes, people start thinking it is true. So the entire campaign against Election Commission losing credibility or something of that kind, that is one. Leave aside that. Let's talk about the appeals not being made. You had 1.6 lakh BLAs, apart from about a lakh BLOs. BLOs are under the government or the government servants, while BLAs are of the political party, 1,60,000. And then this 1,60,000, if they had found that wrongly some names have been deleted, they would have certainly applied. After all, every political party has an interest in ensuring that the persons who are very much available for voting and they have been wrongly removed has to be projected and brought to the notice of the Election Commission. Nobody did that.
Lakhs of things were filed.
You make a fair point there. I also want to get you, Doctor. You make a fair point there. Why? No, 1 minute. No. I think it's fair to ask why have booth level agents not made more objections is one of the points which is made by those who believe that the S.I.R exercise is not as flawed as critics believe. But Dr. Qureshi, do you agree with Yogendra Yadav that at least the names of the so-called foreigners who have been detected the number of them should be made public, names and numbers? At least the number we don't still know in Bihar. If this exercise was designed to remove the so-called Ghuspetiyas, as the government of India claims, how many Ghuspetiyas actually were found in the end? Should the Election Commission not tell us? Or it's not their job?
Yes, I agree with Yogendra ji there that the whole exercise started in the name of foreigners. And we must know, I'm curious to know how many foreigners were found. Why is the Election Commission not coming out very clearly about that? And I saw the press conference entirely, and he is right that twice the question was raised, and we didn't get the answer. So even now, through your program, we would like to know how many foreigners have we found. We are very worried about the foreigners being on the roll. They must be thrown out. But what is their number? How many were found?
Okay, so you're very clear on that. Yogendra, the final word. And this point was made by Rajat also, if there was so much of, if it was such a deeply flawed exercise, would people not protest in larger numbers, including the booth level agents of the, and the block level agents of the different parties?
Rajdeep, my friend Rajat forgets that there was something called Voter Adhikar Yatra in Bihar, which went for 10 days, in which thousands, if not millions, participated. And the entire yatra was about this. Millions of people were on the street, but forget it. Get a Congress or RJD spokesperson next time. They'll probably argue that case out. And in this discussion,
but that's different to protest. No, Yogendra Yadav, why haven't booth level agents protested or political parties? We saw that that's an argument even in Maharashtra, which I keep hearing. Why, if there was so many mass deletions unfairly done, should the local level, booth level agents not have noticed it and protested?
No, it is not their job to protest. It is their job to file objections. It is their job to file and allow people to get in. And in this, there is a serious conflation in this particular discussion. I think we are just of the 65 lakh names that were deleted, please remember about 4 lakh objections were received and 21 lakh new names have been added. And I am saying with all seriousness that out of these 21 lakh names, at least 3 to 4 lakh names were of those who were unduly excluded in the 65 lakh list. Unfortunately, the Election Commission, in a completely illegal manner, forced these people whose names had been excluded, forced them to fill Form 6 and come as a new voter. And I have demonstrated, Rajdeep, to the Supreme Court, that people who are 100-year-old have applied in Bihar, reapplied in Bihar to become new voters. Clearly, these were the excluded voters. So to say that not one thing has happened is a complete lie. Lakhs of names have been added, lakhs of objections have been made. The point the Election Commission today was making was only about the 3.66 lakh final stage deletions that took place after the draft electoral rolls. And I repeat, no one can appeal against an order which they have not received. In that final stage, Election Commission did not actually give orders.
Okay. I think what is very clear is also the lack of transparency. I think one of the problems with this entire exercise has been the complete lack of transparency at different levels and the inability to take the stakeholders on board. Who are the main stakeholders? Not just we, the citizens, but the political parties who actually have the maximum at stake in some way, along with us voters during elections. So if the Election Commission was more transparent, engaged possibly with political parties rather than dictating to them, maybe the S.I.R exercise would have involved more trust. The fact, though, is we do need purification of the rolls. The question is, how do you purify the rolls? Purely by exclusion or ensuring a rigorous, transparent exercise? To all my panelists for joining me on this debate, appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Rajdeep, please give me one word. Please give me one word. You are summing up saying that there
is okay, one final word. I can't stop.
Is an unnecessary remark, because if you have 1.6 lakh...
No, why haven't they met all the political parties?
If they are political party representatives.
Sir, but why? What stops the Election Commission from holding all party meetings in every state, getting every state on board? That's what I meant.
That is being done.
This is an exercise which could be done with a greater element of consensus.
Please understand that was done by the CEOs. CEO is also a representative of the Election Commission.
Let's leave it there. I appreciate.
Thank you.
Okay, I appreciate my guest joining me. Thank you so much. Okay, let me leave you then with our image of the day. It is Chhat Puja, and it is an occasion which is very special for millions of people across states like Bihar and Jharkhand in particular. A moment to, in a way, venerate and celebrate the river, which is why across North India you're seeing number of people celebrating Chhat Puja today. We wish you a safe and joyous Chhat Puja. Thanks for watching. Stay well, stay safe. Good night, Jai Hind, Namaskar.